Aujourd'hui, on accueille Maud et Daniela de Brevo. On va parler content et design. C'est deux sujets qui sont quand même assez proches et qui doivent en tout cas communiquer ensemble. Je parle des équipes, bien sûr. Et aujourd'hui, Maud et Daniela vont nous montrer comment est-ce qu'ils ont mis en place une approche unifiée qui leur permette justement de faire du content et du design main dans la main, d'éviter trop de retour en arrière, disons, pour se synchroniser, etc. Et c'est très important, effectivement, de bien être synchro entre sur ces deux sujets. Pour ce qui est du marché du design, je suis beaucoup sollicité là-dessus, donc je profite de cette intervention pour faire un petit état des lieux, disons un rapide état des lieux sur le marché design. On constate une reprise assez prudente du marché suite à notre enquête de début 2024 sur le marché de la tech, du produit et du design en France. On a interrogé, alors j'ai plus le chiffre exact, mais il y a plus de 3000 personnes dans l'enquête, j'ai plus le chiffre exact de designers, mais ce que je peux vous dire, c'est qu'il y a quasiment un designer sur deux qui compte changer d'emploi en 2024. On a une inversion de la tendance sur le télétravail, donc de plus en plus de retour au bureau, comme vous le savez. L'intelligence artificielle qui est loin d'être démocratisée, ça c'est intéressant, entre la présence médiatique de l'IA et dans les faits, son utilisation quotidienne, notamment par les designers qui sont concernés, car il y a de plus en plus d'outils pour aider notamment à la création. Mais voilà, en tout cas, c'est pas encore démocratisé au sein des entreprises. Et enfin, je termine par là, malheureusement, toujours un écart de rémunération homme-femme qui reste important. Donc, il y a encore du travail là-dessus. Ensuite, donc ça, c'est les petits cadeaux habituels pour ceux qui nous suivent. Vous le savez, à chacun de nos événements, on essaye de vous apporter un maximum de valeur. Aujourd'hui, donc à gauche, si vous scannez le QR code de gauche, vous aurez accès à la boîte à outils du product designer. On a fait ce contenu très quali avec l'aide de beaucoup de boîtes, beaucoup de très bons designers qui nous ont accompagnés sur ce sujet. Donc voilà, il y a plein de méthodos, plein d'outils qui sont recommandés avec la manière de les utiliser. Donc vraiment, n'hésitez pas à le télécharger. Et à droite, notre enquête dont je vous parlais sur les salaires de la tech en 2024. Pareil, on a beaucoup bossé. C'était un gros travail chez nous, en tout cas, pour arriver à vous sortir cette enquête. Donc, n'hésitez pas à la télécharger si vous ne l'avez pas déjà fait précédemment. TPC, The Product Crew, pour ceux qui ne nous connaîtraient pas déjà, petit rappel, donc c'est une communauté qui rassemble plus de 10 000 personnes, pas que des products, on a également donc des profils design, des profils tech et data également. En vous inscrivant, en devenant membre de la communauté, alors déjà je le rappelle, c'est gratuit, vous n'êtes pas obligé d'être candidat avec nous pour être membre de la communauté, mais vous aurez accès à nos events, nos jobs, nos masterclass, donc c'est très cool. Et enfin, bien sûr, si vous voulez candidater avec nous, trouver votre prochaine aventure, on est là pour vous aider. Vous pouvez scanner ce petit QR code pour vous inscrire directement, cette fois en tant que candidat. Voilà pour les messages habituels. Je laisse Maud, je crois que c'est toi qui vas commencer. Je te laisse partager ton écran. Et donc, pour rappel, posez toutes vos questions dans le chat. Et en fin de meet-up, on essaiera de vous passer aussi la parole directement avec le micro. Donc, soyez prêts si vous voulez poser vos questions directement à Maud et Daniela. Merci beaucoup. À toi de jouer, Maud.
Ton micro est coupé, Maud. Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
And you can see my screen. Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
So a quick introduction, maybe just so I'm Maud, I'm design system lead at Brevo. So I'm in charge of the strategy of the design system, of the development of the design system, obviously, and also supporting designer in their day-to-day work, I would say. And what about you, Daniela?
Hi everyone, Daniela. I lead the content design team at Brevo. We are a team of 5 people that are responsible for content and localization because Brevo is available in 6 languages. So yes, we work hand in hand with the product designers, product managers, and also with the design system team. So yes, I think that's it.
So just to bring you a bit more context of the team and our environment and why we're structured this way. So we are in a product team of more than 50 people now. Inside directly the UX team. So the design system team is 8 people now, so 3 design people and 5 tech people. As Daniela mentioned, the content team is now 5 people, and we are working with product design and also user research, but also tech teams and product management also. So this is the quick introduction and a quick look at the agenda. So we will give you some definition and then deep dive into the subject. How can content impact DS? A quick deep dive into form patterns, how we did it, a quick recap, and of course your questions. And I will start with what is a design system. So the definition for us at Brevo is that a design system is an ecosystem where discipline collaborates toward common goals, sharing languages and processes. So by discipline, I mean product management, product design, of course, content, user research, also tech teams, also ops. So everything should collaborate toward common goals, which is basically user experience, but also business goals sometimes. And languages, it's basically what content is working with, but also the texts are working with languages. So the code libraries, also the Figma libraries are tech languages. Our design system is Neos, and it's the ecosystem that helps to build great experiences at Brevo. And you can access to it through brevo.design.
Now, I want to bring you, just to align on, to bring all of us at the same page, what is content design? So content design is a discipline, a full discipline within UX. And I will start saying that if it goes far beyond that simply writing text and filling blanks in the design. It is, in fact, a multidisciplinary field that integrates various techniques from the UX toolbox, UX design, information architecture, research, usability, and with product management as well. And our goal is to create useful content that will help users to achieve their goals, to complete their tasks in an easy, fast way. So yes, crafting words content is a component of content design, but we need to have in mind that our primary goal is to facilitate the user journey. So if you want to put a bit more of colors, you might think that the content design involves not only deciding what to say, how to say, but also determining where to place the message, when to show the message, what are the best formats for you to portray this message, so that we can optimize the user journey and ensure that it is accessible, inclusive, helpful, that can be localized. Content designers should work hand in hand with product designers, product managers, tech teams from the beginning of a project, because content design plays a crucial role in shaping the design itself. And that's why the content design and the design system is a match made in heaven, I would say, because we have so much synergy and we found a really great collaboration in Brevo, and that's what we're going to be showing you now.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, why we teamed up? First, as Daniela mentioned, is that we are sharing the same goals, basically, which is helping product designers to help the better experience possible. The first reason is we are working for consistency, both of us. So we want to bring more consistency across the platform and to provide a unified voice, unified behaviors. The second reason is the scalability. So basically wants to create solutions that can be reused all across the product, and also to bring autonomy to the designers so they can reuse by themselves everything. The third reason is the sustainability. We are working for the long-term vision, and especially at the design system. So we are really glad to share that also with the content team. We just want to make sure that the experiences we are building are remaining relevant and accessible throughout the time, whenever the time. So yes, and I think now we will just give you a few examples of how content can impact the design system, and vice versa, of course.
Yeah, so I think, as you saw, we have a lot of synergy and common goals here with these disciplines. And I'm going to show you some of the examples where the content impacts, or how the content collaborates to the design system. What you have as a goal is to ensure that the design system nails can provide a complete package, as complete as possible. So bringing in the content guidelines as part of the components, as part of the pattern, if you have it. So, and this is made available to the whole team. So coming back, when you talk about autonomy, if you provide the right content guidelines and even reusable content, this helps and empowers actually designers to work independently, so they don't really necessarily need a content designer next to them to make all the decisions when you're defining and creating an experience. And that's a reality in many teams, even at Brevo. So here, for instance, we're gonna just highlight some of the examples. They're parts of nails. So for the first one is an object-based button. So we create the guidelines in order for the button to be simpler, unambiguous, accessible. So we know when something is as clear as possible, accessible, we have a better conversion. So connecting what you're saying in the user journey and the business goals. So content not being there because of the words and the decisions that you make because we like to do in certain ways, but actually they will perform better this way. So this is an example for a button of that object-based button. Also, another point that we're gonna see here is the icon. When you need to use an icon, to remember that we need to make sure the content is behind it, that makes it accessible, that make it easier for everyone to understand what this icon will do. We cannot imply or imagine that everybody will know what you want to mean with icons. So basic, letting people know what an icon does, what a button does through clear labeling. And then we create some the guidelines where will help whoever is writing a label. It can be a content designer, it can be a designer, sometimes a product manager, to know how to handle or how to better create a content for these components. We have a next example that I like very much is how content actually impacted DS in the choice of a pattern. So when I say, when you have certain message for certain use cases, what are the best patterns to use? So for here, we're seeing an example of a snack bar being used, a classical use is a non-persistent message, it does not disrupt the journey of this user. So that's the best option for when you just want to validate and confirm that an action was taken, it is fully done. So we're providing the how to write this snack bar, how to use one, and how to write it And even when you go to our guidelines, you're going to have a little bit more of colors, a little bit more of context, being straightforward, be concise, removing things that are not necessary, bring some example here successfully. So like really making sure that message delivers what it needs to deliver. At the same time, at the other hand, we also have an alert. An alert is a persistent message. Should inform the user of a potential problem, should be really clear about the cause, the consequences. We need to do our best to provide users with guidance or a solution so they can work around that. Again, with the goal of helping the users to go through the journey and achieve what they need to achieve. And the same words you're always going to get through our guidelines. You're going to have some content tips of not to use things that are not necessary or not needed, like words like sorry, please, this kind of thing that we know it doesn't add to help the user to use the content and go through what they need to go through. So this is, again, a combination of how to shape it, but when to use it. What is the best use for a certain pattern? Next example is about DS planning for certain use cases. We have several of them. So also for the text expansion. So as I said, is reality for many of our companies, and Brevo is provided in 6 languages. Our source content is English, which is a shorter language usually, but how we plan for the expansion of it. We have the languages, they can expand, they have different sizes, so we need to plan for that. So the design system have these plans in place. And also in case, for instance, another example we're having here is the content length management, how you manage truncated text. And in this case, what you have as a goal to always provide for the content is allow the user know what's behind if you have to truncate. In our choice here, using tooltips to really display what's behind this field that's truncated. So it's all being available in nails and as a guideline for our teams to better provide content in the experience.
So now I will deep dive with another example and more about how we did this collaboration, because we really work closely with the content team to provide the form pattern. It's still in progress, so but we have good insights to share. The first thing is what we had before, and to put some context around this work. We were having styling issue. We were missing some input types. So basically we had just input text and text area. So we were missing, for instance, input date or input time or input password. So basically after the sending blue to Brevo rebranding, we just chose to not change that much the input. And finally, we had this discussion with Daniela and the content team to align our roadmaps and to provide a framework around those components that was also missing, which led to a lack of consistency across the platform when it comes to form. So we aligned the roadmap first, and we first asked a lot of questions. Should we keep the placeholder? Is the required asterisk a good pattern, or should we introduce the optional? The error message is not accessible because it's based on color. So if you're colorblind, you can't acknowledge when there is an error or not. We are also losing the alt text in case of error, which is counterproductive. And also the alt text is after the input. So you have to read the alt text after having eventually filled the input without having the alt text read. So this was the first question. We worked on a daily basis together, researching a lot about content standards, design system standards, what has been done by others, what are the research, and what are the insights behind it. And we found out some solutions. The first one was to remove all placeholder from inside the field. This way, the users know exactly which field needs input. Basically, because human eye is attracted by empty spaces and by white space, I would say. Another decision we made was the required asterisk, so we chose to not introduce optional version. It's an arbitrary decision because both can work, and actually usually we recommend, and the content standard recommend, to use both depending on the use cases. But to simplify actually the rules and also for legacy management, we chose to just keep the previous system. So we are dealing with the asterisk for required field. Also, we chose to respect the natural reading flow for the alt text. So now we are placing the alt text above the field, which also allows to have the alt text and the label always visible, even in case of error message. And as you can see, we added also an icon for the error in case of error. This way, colorblind people can acknowledge that there is an error. We also revamped this component on design system side with new input type, and new branding styling, matching the Brevo new brand. Also, so all of these new rules related to content have also impacted the layout, and especially when it comes to the alt text placement above the field, because it can lead actually to misalignment. I will show you that. So if I have a double column layout, it can be complicated in case of alt text, not alt text, two-line alt text and everything. But the good news is that content has also impact on layout and architecture of the page. And the great news is that the recommendation is to have always a single column layout. A double or even triple column layout is really like the exception, only when the inputs are related without that much alt text. So this way we can control completely the layout. Another thing that has been recommended by content team and has impact into the design system is to resize input related to expected content. So basically it means that for a phone input, you want the width of your field to be as much as possible as the width of your phone number. So this way, the user is understanding better what it's required from them. I think that's it for this slide. All of this also just for you to know, the research shows that all of this, like the alt text, the natural reading flow, the single column layout is allowing to ease the completion of form and to be faster for the user. And just to make sure that you understand that content can really have a big impact on design system patterns and also on design and product design, not only design system, it can also influence the architecture, because we are recommending and encouraging to provide more context to the form, because usually we are trying to really have neat interface without that much content in it and everything. And sometimes it can be not helpful for the user. So providing context to a form, which can be really a complex task to perform, is really important. And we are also encouraging progressive disclosure by, in case of complex form, obviously, by grouping some tasks. And also we can directly create steps using Stepper. So yeah, and I think now Daniela will explain you how we did it.
Thanks, Maud. So what we like a lot about the forum example when we decided to show it to you is because I think we can bring some quite a lot of elements that show you how working with a content design team, the output you can have, where it's not necessarily a line of text or a couple of lines of text. We talk about decisions about the fields, about the order, about placements, about grouping. So there's like quite a lot, as I say, with a multidisciplinary approach that we can contribute, and you can help and help us to come to all these decisions you made for forms in the context of Brevo. Also understanding our context, understanding our users and our product. And another thing to say, I think just to chiming in this last part about the content being in needs or the design being in needs, meaning not much content or not content at all. I think that's the problem. So working with the right techniques in UX writing and content design, our goal is also the same. It's to get rid of unnecessary things, to be very crispy on the message, very, very crispy when we need a message. Again, with the goal is we all sharing the same goal, the user to be able to accomplish what they need to accomplish. So many times, no content is not the right answer here. But how we did it. So forum is also when our collaboration really mature. And rather than being prescriptive, it really didn't happen in this sequence way. I'm going to say that the collaboration is truly at the heart of how we work. So it was not about the different teams working in isolation and handing over their work to the other to fill in the blanks. So we start seeing early on aligning our roadmaps, having a common goal, shared goals across our teams. So we really, from the beginning, line up on what you wanted to achieve. So we gather through these, we identify, to align on the roadmap, we also identify what could substantially improve the experience of our users, things that we know were problematic and you always wanted to tackle. So many different inputs to help us shape this roadmap. We had kickoff meeting, gather everyone's feedback from our teams within the UX, with product, what we knew about the users as well. A big part of research and discovery, we look at the common patterns. We went to tap into research that's available. So there's really amazing content that we can find in the usual suspects. A lot of things that we ourselves making available so the community can really use it and reuse it and understand if it makes sense for them. A lot of deep diving accessibility standards to make sure we're making the right decisions here. And the deep dive in our specific use cases. The team, we share our progress. We in touch daily, almost daily. It's like huddle meetings when we need. So actually it was like very organic. Because we are so committed and so focused on the same objective that for us it was a day-to-day work thing. But I think the most important part is that we all, through all this whole cycle, we were open to learn, open to challenge one another, being having the same the goal of to really help something that comes back to the slide in the beginning that is scalable, that's sustainable, that's consistent. We agree on decisions, we bring things, we don't always agree. We have to build consensus, we have to learn more. Sometimes we say, okay, we don't have all the information here. Also counting with some of the feedback that we already knew from product designers, product managers. So sometimes we have to come back to the drawing board and research a little bit more, make trade-offs. We as usual, it happens to everyone. So, but we wanted to make it fast. So it might look like a big chart here, but we were making decisions fast and like really fundamental decisions. We really want to make sure we are based on data to make these choices. Once you get what you're gonna do, so it comes develop and document. So the part of documentation is super important, also to make sure that the way we're documenting, it makes sense for people who are going to use, tech teams, designers, whoever is going to be using the design system. So we test with product designers, we showcase, so is that what you need? How can we improve this? And as I said, the content guidelines being provided also whenever is relevant. And then it comes to the time of, okay, we went through all of this, we need to share and we need to train the team so they know how to use it. So we went through workshops, we had presentations, we have messages here and there, and we like on a daily basis being available to keep working with the teams and help them, guide them or answer the questions, and also being open, maybe if there's an additional use case we need to look. So we keep building on not only forms, but all the patterns and components that you're working on. So I think this shows a little bit more of important things or maybe principles that we had, but it had been what I want to highlight, an alignment from early on and a hand-in-hand work so we can come to the outcome that we all were looking for. So that's our secret sauce.
Yeah, and to finish with a quick recap and what you should remember from this presentation, maybe. And Daniela, you stop me if you want to add anything. The first thing is that content is completely and entirely part of component of UX, UI, architecture, patterns. So you should really design and think your content as you are doing product design. It's really the same, and actually it's the core of your product design. So design the content and associated rules around it. So truncation rules, what is done for accessibility when it comes to hidden content, localization, as you saw, with word expansion, if you have, and also all the architecture of content. The second one is alignment and collaboration. So we are a team, dedicated team to design system and content, but it could also be the same within product design if you don't have the chance to have a dedicated content team or design system team. The secret is really to align and collaborate to remain open at each time, because each specialty and each new stuff will enrich your work and your experience. Another really important thing, if you have the chance to work with the content team, is to get the content or UX writer involved from the start, because they will, as you can see, as you have seen previously, they can influence the architecture of the whole design. So yeah, and also share your discovery and make your decision really clear to each other, to everyone. Which leads to the third point, which is document and spread the word. Basically, yes, you have to explain clearly your decision. This way it can be shared and it can bring some consistency for your design and for your experiences. Ensure also that everyone has the same level of information. You can make some presentation. You can also organize workshops. Sometimes it can help to really understand all the patterns. And also an interesting thing is that you can share and present your work to product designers that will design, but you can also share this and present your work to developers that will develop your design, to make sure they have the same level of information about the behaviors and how it should behave and everything. And also to product manager, because sometimes they are dealing with content as well. And I think that's it on my side. Daniela, do you have something to add?
Oh, that was perfect.
Great. So now it's time, I think, for the question.
Thank you very much. It was a very dense and interesting presentation, and I think it will highlight for a lot of people how those two subjects are very closely related. And I know that for a fact a lot of people, like often product designer, have to do the content part and don't have a dedicated team, so maybe it will help them too. The choice of the form to show the business impact too was very smart, because we all know that rate of completion and time to complete form are a really important thing for business, you know. I have several questions already in the chat. Don't hesitate to ask your question directly, or if you want to take the mic, we can give you the mic also. First question, it's maybe a little irritating for you, Daniela, but I will ask it anyway. So if I understand well, your role is a lot of enabling the other people, you know, with a framework, with a set of rules that will help them do content the right way. And of course, once you've done that, there is the part of helping the teams, you know, to learn how to use these rules and stuff. But is there a possibility, or maybe are you afraid, I can ask it like this, that you're doing such a great job that maybe in a few months or over a year that you won't be needed as today because of all the good work, you know, all the rules are in place and stuff like this. So how do you keep having an impact on the long term?
I'm not concerned with job stability. So yes, I think having the rules in place, and that's how we are, I mean, looking for a scalable model. I think the team, I'm not afraid of a content design team won't be needed, because it's an evolving ecosystem. It's an evolving needs and use cases. So in addition, with the support you give to the design system, we also help support the development of the experiences and new experiences. But it's the same thing. I think we all working on these environments that every day is a new day, and we're always learning and expanding and growing. So no, I'm not. But what my goal is to really have a content designer impacting where they can impact, have a really high impact. In the past, it would be easy and common to have content writer. We have many names in our journey, writing more in a copywriting kind of work, and this is evolving for a really high impacting discipline. So probably if you look at our goal is to how to give all these rules, how to help decide on things. They are decided. We don't need to discuss this, but there are a bunch of other things that you will need. You're gonna have a better impact if you have a chance to work in the content design, depending on the challenge you have. Maybe you have a challenge of activation. Then you may say, okay, what we need to work here to help activate this product, this flow, or even going through more in detail of why something is not working. So yeah, no, I'm not concerned. And actually it's the goal. Therefore, a big chunk of it, things that we can replicate, reuse, yes, there's no need. We define the rules, it's there, but it's a big chunk of work that is just what we're learning every day.
Thank you, Daniela. And to be clear, I'm not concerned too either.
I hope.
We have some lengthy question from some first question from Alice Lemontet. I don't know if you want to maybe take the mic directly. You're still muted, but you can unmute you and ask your question. Alice, no, sorry, I can speak. So I will ask your question. No worries, Alice. Do you have any recommendation for benchmarking about content design, especially if you don't have any team or people directly owning the subject?
Yeah, if you don't have anyone like we have a dedicated team of experts in the field, I would say you need to develop some of the skills of UX writing. So there are quite a lot of good content out there. I also recommend to go into style guides, content design systems that are available from big players. Nielsen also a very good source. So develop the discipline, develop the skills. It's something that you can make it all good UX professionals. So yeah, and they're like as nowadays there's a lot of trying out. We even need to see how AI can help us in this field as well. But I mean, there's a lot of to be developed. I think in all of our disciplines are not very clear with that, but there are tools that can help you. But definitely spend time going through some content design systems. There are available from big players with like really good examples, good explanations. Our also going to be available, so feel free to type in. But yes.
Thank you very much, Daniela. We have Sylvia from Payfit, I think, from the content team of Payfit. I don't know, Sylvia, if you're still there and maybe want to take the mic. I see. Okay, I think that you're done for it. Not sure if it works. We cannot hear you. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks for the presentation. It was super concrete. And as I said, it's interesting to see how things overlap. We're in very early stages of building our own design system as well at Payfit. And it's very helpful. So I have pretty concrete questions for you about how you organize your time, mainly. So I was wondering how much of your time as content designers you allocate to the design system. If there are multiple content designers contributing to the design system, and if so, how do you manage to assign the tasks to each content designer? And my last question is if the content design system team also contributes to building the information architecture and the content guidelines of the design system itself.
Hey, Sylvia. Well, we have on the team 3 content designers as of now. I don't know if and definitely we don't have anyone fully dedicated to the design system, but as we are supporting the whole UX team, they say also working in some really high impacting experiences. So I don't know in terms of percentage, I would say that maybe 30%, if I have to give you an estimate. So what we did was for most of the time on form, for instance, there would be me and another amazing person on my team. His name is Cyril, and we'll be working with Maud for developing the form. So I would say that about this, we were very, we also decided early on when you talk about the roadmap and what we were able to achieve. You wanted to have a roadmap that you feel you can deliver, in addition to all the other responsibilities you have that you probably know very well within your team. Writing the guidelines, the content guidelines, is something that is also within the content design team responsibility. And that is not only across all our team members. In the same way, we do a very criterious work on how to decide what are the most important things or most impacting things, either for design system in terms of the patterns, as the conversation we have here with modes, but also in the guidelines. We understood, okay, these are the ones that we should start off. So we have allocated some part of our work to write the guidelines, and we define early on every semester. We define a roadmap, and we craft time to work on it. So probably 30%, I will give you this sense. But we are a small team. We're lucky to have a team, but we're still a small team supporting these many designers. These are really big product teams, so we need to choose carefully. But the most important is choosing carefully and choosing what we can deliver. We don't want anyone to feel frustrated. We don't want anyone to get overworked, but what are the things we can make progress? And we also don't have the ambition to have everything ready and perfect. We can keep improving. Some of the guidelines we worked on last year, for instance, we were doing. We know that there was an angle that we did not have time to go deep, or we learned something else. So it's more of iterative work, I would say, depending on how things evolve.
Very clear. Thank you. I like the iterative approach as well. We had the same question. Can we show work in progress or not? And we went for yes. So it's good to hear you do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia, for your intervention, and thank you, Daniela, for your answer. I think we're going to wrap it up here. It's almost time, but thank you very much. It was super interesting, and don't hesitate in the audience if you want to continue the discussion. You know, you can add Daniela or Maud on LinkedIn, and they'll be happy to talk content or design with you. I'm sure of it. And I hope that we see a lot of you at our next event presentation. Don't hesitate to leave a rating between 0 and 5 in the chat to let us know what you thought of it. And je vous dis bon appétit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.